What's up, people? Today's stories are going to be pretty heavy, so listen at your own risk. The question is, parents of Reddit, what is the darkest secret you're hiding from your children? Story 1. My daughter was conceived at work, on airport property, in the back of a fucking Ford Focus, while we were waiting for a med flight to land. She knows nothing about this, but she tells me she wants to be a pilot when she grows up. Story 2. My grandma never told my grandpa that he had Parkinson's and dementia. The last 2 years of his life were pretty bad, but I don't think he ever knew what was happening to him. About 90% of the time, he was just gone, but every once in a while, there would be a short period when you could tell he was mentally present. He knew something was terribly wrong but didn't know what, and kept asking when his medicine would start working. He didn't realize the medicine was just to keep him calm and comfortable. It was a blessing when he finally passed away. Don't tell I'm not giving you advice. Story 3. My daughter can't have a relationship with her grandfather because he's a pedophile, and I would never trust him. The rest of my family maintains a relationship with him and leans on me hard to open up communication because family comes first. They are absolutely right, my family comes first, which is why my daughter won't ever have to have a relationship with him. He has molested and raped multiple members of my family, and I only found out when I was pregnant with my daughter. Without going into too much detail, he also has a mental illness, and I've been told that I need to let him have a relationship with my daughter because he's sick and couldn't help it. Story 4. My dad cheated on my mother while she was going through cancer treatments. My mother asked for a divorce, and he said, "Go ahead and take the kids." Every Valentine's Day, I would receive flowers from my dad and get so happy. My mom would smile and nod and get excited with me. I would call him to thank him, but he never sent me flowers. It was my mom all those years. The same thing happened with birthday cards and Christmas gifts. My mom just put his name on them in similar handwriting and even wrote return addresses on the mail. My mom was a superhero of a single parent. Story 5. I've been changing every clock in the house on New Year's Eve to 3 hours early. At 9 p.m. we celebrate the new year, then hang out for an hour. He thinks he's breaking every rule and has a great time. Now that he's turning 11, this will never happen again with smartphones and him being somewhat smarter. Story 6. I was the kid in this scenario. When I was about 12, my dad died of leukemia. He was never around much, so I didn't see him often, but that was never the secret. I actually remember the day he took off and left us. I woke up one morning and there was a pile of new toys on the living room floor with a note for my mom. Anyway, he started coming around when he received his prognosis. We developed something resembling a positive relationship before he died. When he passed, it absolutely destroyed me. I still remember the funeral. I had to be dragged kicking and screaming out of the car because I didn't want to see it. In his will, he left me his car, a Camaro that I was supposed to get when I turned 16. His parents fought tooth and nail to keep it from me. They were really shitty people, his entire side of the family was, and we eventually just told them to fuck off and keep the damn thing. Fast forward about 15 years, I find out the guy who died was not actually my dad, he was my brother's dad. My real, biological dad has been living in the next town over 20 minutes from my house, my entire life. My entire family knew about it except for me. It was why my grandparents fought to keep the car. They knew I was not his son. I still don't know if he knew or not, but I assume so. My maternal grandmother has met him several times in my life. My mom said she never thought it was anything worth digging up and intended for me never to find out. I've still never spoken to him. I know a name and an approximation of where he lives, as of about 10 years ago. Beyond that, I know jack about the guy. Grandma said if I ever want to meet him, she would help me contact him. Dunno if I ever will. Story 7. I'm hiding a lot of things. I used to be a stripper for 10 years, I grew up in an abusive house, I partied hard and was part of the NYC and Montreal club scene, and I was kidnapped and taken to another country. There's a lot I've been through, but now I'm just a boring accountant mom to everyone. No one has any clue what I've been through. Crazy what your kids don't know about you. Story 8. After reading a bunch of these, I feel pretty good that my most fucked up secret is that I eat most of their Halloween, Easter, and parade candy when they are at school. Story 9. My parents told me my sister is adopted. They didn't tell her. Story 10. I'm the child, 48F, but my father told me my mother was dead throughout my childhood, and everyone in the family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, stepmother, supported the lie. Not because my mother was on drugs or abusive, or a criminal, or even a bad person, but because they had a huge argument one night and she went to stay with a friend without me. He decided she would never be allowed in my life again, ever. He wrote her off. On my 18th birthday, she called our house and asked to speak with me. That's when I found out the truth. Story 11. I'm the child of a parent who hid something horrible until I was 27. One day when my parents had a domestic dispute, my dad called me just to get back at my mom. He said, "Do you want to know something about your whore mother? She slept with over 30 guys during our first 2 years of marriage." I just sat down and started stuttering. He said, "You know how people have always said you look different than the rest of the kids?" I said, "Yeah. That's because I'm not your dad. Your mom slept with my best friend, and you were conceived. Another thing, your brother, the one just younger than me, I'm the oldest, belongs to my brother." My mom just bawled in the background without denying it. I just laughed, and then I went into 2 years of therapy. Story 12. The reason we don't talk to Uncle Jimmy is because he molested 8 students while he was a teacher for 20 years, went to jail, and is now treated like a leper in our city. Story 13. My wife and I each have a child from a previous marriage. Both of our ex-spouses were abusive cheaters. Both children still adore and idolize their other parent, and we just keep smiling and nodding. This probably isn't the type of thing the question was asking, but it is a secret we will maintain for years. Story 14. I'm working out how to explain that the chicken we eat is the same as the kind of chickens that live on a farm. Story 15. My wife is not the biological mother of our twins. We did IVF, and their biological mother was an egg donor from a country in South America. My wife carried them and gave birth to them but has no biological connection. We'll tell them someday when they're older. It's a little strange, but one looks exactly like me at that age, and the other looks very much like my brother. For anyone wondering, our twins are 8.5 years old, and my side of the family has known the truth since long before the procedure occurred. For whatever reason, my wife decided to tell her family that she was the egg donor, I was the sperm donor, and that we did IVF because we were older and needed medical help to get her pregnant. I never understood why but went along with it because it was what she wanted. I will broach the subject when my wife gets back in the country from a long work trip. Story 16. That we're divorced. Years before they came along, my spouse and I decided it wasn't working out and got divorced. Years later, things still weren't working out for both of us, so we got back together. We never did get around to getting remarried, though. Story 17. That I got all these bedtime facts from Reddit? Story 18. My daughter knows that her grandparents are getting a divorce. She doesn't know that it's because my 72-year-old grandpa decided to knock up a 23-year-old. We will talk about it once she's older, but I don't want to normalize that relationship for a pre-adolescent. Story 19. I never actually took his nose, it stayed on his face the whole time. In fact, it has never once left his face, even though I have told him that I took it countless times. I even showed him the tip of my thumb as evidence of the theft. Sorry you had to read that, but it feels really good to come clean. Story 20. I don't have kids, but here's a family secret. My mom and I left the straightener on for 2 days while we took a family trip to Canada. It doesn't have an automatic off. We haven't told my dad. Story 21. On my 18th birthday, my father walked into my room with a bag of weed and a bunch of rolling papers and showed me the entire hidden portion of our house, not on the blueprints, accessed through a hidden door, that he used to grow weed. I had been grounded for smoking weed several times by that point in my life. This was in Florida in the 90s. Story 22. I have a copy of Grand Theft Auto hidden behind some books on a shelf. Story 23. I don't want my son to know that he was an unwanted accident. Even during my pregnancy, I didn't want a child. I was still so young and had my whole career ahead of me. I wanted to travel the world, finish school, and advance myself in life to the fullest. After he was born, I had a hard time adjusting, and it took me a long time to fall in love with motherhood. I didn't feel a connection to my son and felt like the worst mother in the world. Now, I can't stop looking at him or hugging him or crying over him. I'm finishing school and got promoted at my job. I can have my life and still be a mother too. I only regret my initial feeling of not wanting my son, because he means so much to me, and there are no words to describe the deep love that I feel for him. Story 24. We are so poor. They're little, so they don't notice. But we struggle a lot to pay the rent and buy groceries. Story 25. They know daddy works with money, but they don't know it's in the cannabis industry. Story 26. It's not fucked up, but my daughter doesn't know I'm an atheist. She goes to a Christian private school. It's going to be an interesting conversation when she is a little older. She is starting to put it together. She just asked me the other day, "Why does your mom say a prayer for Jesus before bedtime and you say the Green Lantern Oath instead?" Story 27. That I am, in fact, a motherfucker. Story 28. My dad has a second wife in a different country. I got the news from my sibling who lives there, but little does my father know that my brother has told me. My mom doesn't know about my father's second wife. Not sure how this will play out in the future. I hope it really doesn't. The screenwriter just forgot to finish this part of my film. Story 29. That he's a cat and not, in fact, a person. Well people, that's all for today. If you liked this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more videos. See you in the next video?